Late afternoon solstice at Aldworth Manor, Harrisville. Sunlight slants onto silver-backed Monadnock, a capstone evening for the peak to survey its woods and waters trooping into distance. It is a lonely voyage into this wildness. A half-century ago, I, crouched like a supplicant, stared at a map at my feet, placed a compass point centered on this summit, which called me from myself. Drew a 30-mile radius and determined, like Odysseus, there would be no other title called home. I was adopted. This evening, my contingent is scattered, acquiring their needs. I'm alone at the bar, with a window on this mountain, shrimp sautéed with spinach, white wine, butter, and lemon sauce equaling the view. Flavors ease by the tongue, charm the tingle of chills, and ascend my shoulders. I, too, shall adopt.
My name is Erica Redditch, and I'm a printmaker who lives in Spofford, New Hampshire. It's always been the most important thing as far as careers go for me. I've done a lot of other things, but I've always returned to my artwork. My recent work has celebrated the idea of community, refuge, village, home. This body of work uses simple, colorful structures to represent the warmth and comfort that we find in our community, a true refuge. The prints are collages using repurposed original prints made at a kinder, easier time. These prints remind me of those times, so I bring them forward to now, and hope is present. The story here is the power and joy that is found in togetherness. These buildings symbolize that silver lining shining brightly. Well, I think that there is so much natural beauty in the Monadnock region that it clearly acts as a model for many artists. My interest in the natural world is paramount to my art study, but I do the work as an abstract interpretation of what I see and feel and look at around me. And as we know, the Monadnock region is just full of natural resources for art.
Whose words are these? I just don't know. Don't even have a clue. The question isn't high on my list. So many times I've walked this path, no need to find out who. It won't change the way I feel or what I do. And my little horse don't give a damn who wants us what we've crossed. Wish I could write a poem as good as Robert Frost. I see a road before me, diverging in the mist. Which one should I take today? One goes straight for miles, one end up wondering what I might have missed? Will I end up lucky, or will I end up lost? Wish I could write a poem as good as Robert Frost. Fire or ice, I hardly ever think of these things twice. When my thoughts go swirling, the simple things get tossed. Wish I could write a poem as good as Robert Frost. Wish I had a little bird who'd never fly away. On my shoulder it would always be. She'd sing for her supper, she'd sing to celebrate the day. I'd close my eyes, she'd never ever stray. She'd whisper words of wisdom that she'd share with me at no cost. Wish I could write a poem as good as Robert Frost. Wish I could write a poem as well as Robert Frost.
My name is Scott Nemi. I live in Fitzwilliam, New Hampshire. I've resided here since 2003. That's when we came up from Florida and built our house.
Monadnock Region.
Well, hi, I'm Jonathan Nemi. I live in Fitzwilliam, New Hampshire, so I'm a resident in the Monadnock region.
I'm Andrew Nemi, and I live in the region.
I was born in Fitchburg, Massachusetts. Did my graduate education in South Florida. I'm a teaching professor at Clark University. I've taught at Becker College before it closed, and also Franklin Pierce University.
I think a big part of it was my dad. My dad is also an artist. He introduced us to drawing at a very early age, and we've always been interested in creative pursuits, so we started drawing at a young age. And in high school, I started acrylic painting, 2008.
Well, my father's a painter, so that helps. But yeah, I started, I would doodle and stuff and draw as a young kid too, but I think it was sometime after college, like 2015, I started seriously just painting, and yeah, it just like went from there, I guess.
Well, it's funny, in the day when I was growing up, of course, dating how old I am, we didn't have iPads or phones or anything like that. So of course we drew on rainy days, and I did a lot of drawing. I was able to memorize how to draw Fred Flintstone when I was 8 years old. I wanted to be a cartoonist, so I drew all my life from a young age. I started painting in 1987 when I was 23 in South Florida. My grandmother gave me a set of paints of my step-grandfather who had recently passed away. And I said, you know what, I'll give these a try. And I took to the acrylics immediately. But it also had oils, pastels, and other media in there. So I've been painting a while.
I mostly paint in acrylics, but I do a lot of drawing, pen and ink, and pencil, but primarily acrylic painting.
I work in acrylics and digital paintings, and I primarily paint like landscapes.
Actually, I've worked in pretty much all type. I've done some digital work, but oil painting was my thing for many, many years. The last 3 years or so, I switched over to acrylic. Yeah, I have 2 pieces. I have a piece I just entitled The Dublin Farm. And the other piece is a birch view. I have a beautiful group of birch trees in my backyard. We have 11 acres, and I've taken upward views of it many times. I like that kind of low angle view to show off the stature of the trees and everything. So the other one is of a birch tree in the backyard that I've done many times in different seasons.
I think both of them are on the road I live on. I took them, I took photos from, it was in the fall time. Yeah, there's some nice lighting and different things, and there's interesting, it's nice how the light came across the road.
Since I'm a resident, I'm always surrounded by the environment, and I'm particularly drawn to landscape painting. So the Monadnock region offers a wealth of variety, wildlife, landscapes.
I think it's both the history and then the natural element to it. Like there's human elements where it kind of mixed more in with nature rather than like, it's not a city versus, so you have like the rural and like the old New England like charm to it.
And one thing, I grew up in Florida, so we didn't have the seasonal changes down there. So one thing I like about the area is the seasonal changes and having snow and fall. And so I think just the variety has been a big impact. Oh,
there's so much. I mean, first of all, we've got the 4 seasons, right? And there's not a lot of places that have that. And then we have a beauty with the New England fall scenes that I don't think many, if any, places match in the U.S. I mean, there's a lot of places that have fall foliage, but ours is probably the most vibrant. And again, we've got the variety because in the Monadnock region, we've got the mountainous range, but we've got the rivers, we've got the streams, we've got the wildlife, we've got it all.
It's nice to see how different artists interpret the same idea and like what they do with it. Like even if you paint like the same thing, like Mount Monadnock, it was like interesting to see how different people paint it and the different angles they come in.
Well, I think it would give you a view of everyone's different perspective because, everyone would come up with different results. There'd be variation, and it also gets you to look more deeply at a location because there's a lot of changes that can happen within the same area. We're going back to seasons and wildlife and different lighting, so it might help you to notice, some of the little things, being in the same area.
The fact that everybody is diverse, you're going to get a whole bunch of different results, which is really neat. And so to see it all come together, it's a really exciting time to see the show and to see what everybody's done and the way they've approached it. And it preserves, a period of time for the, for the area and for the exhibit.
Cordell Rossi's homemade pasta. The trattoria, crossword of the nose, intersection of the taste, mirror where tongue and ear meet eye, while plates serve song, and song sings pasta. Kitchen stage 3-part syncopated feast, and singers salad up Big Daddy-O, eat at the bar, while musicians swizzle picks over strings with dessert for a star. And in the blue room, an aristocratic carafe of Nebbiolo Barolo softens light and mysteries between lovers' words. A brush, like a double-pawed cat, curling among the tables, nuzzling and kneading our muzzles to a satisfied purr.
My name is Greg Cheney. I'm owner and blacksmith at North Orchard Iron in Langdon, New Hampshire. Briefly describe my career as an artist. I work with metal in my spare time as a creative outlet. I make functional items such as handrails, architectural elements, and tools, and the occasional artistic piece when I have an idea that just can't get out of my head. I got started in metalwork building and repairing forestry equipment on our tree farm in Langdon, New Hampshire. I like this kind of work, so it became a hobby. I began to do more and more of it, and then I started doing work for other people and selling some work. How does this region inform my work? I take inspiration from the architecture and natural forms found in this Monadnock region. I like to make my work fit in with the colonial-style homes that were built with great care and craftsmanship.
Frost is on the treetops, the cats are all inside. There's embers glowing in that old wood stove. There's a bit of a chilly breeze outside, but here it's safe and warm, and it feels just like a million miles I drove. I know there's some reason why I'm standing here instead of spinning in the city's glow. But I just can't think of reasons. This air is so fine and clear on this cold New Hampshire morning in the snow. The sun is pushing back the grayness from the eastern skies as it rises through the pine trees on the hill. There's a lonesome crow cawing from deep within the woods. When he stops, the world is silent still. Must be some philosophy to tell me why I feel so free when I've still got so many miles to go. And somehow past and future just seem unreal to me on this cold New Hampshire morning in the snow. Evening falls, music calls, there's dancing in the air. Apple cider simmering on the stove. Happy voices singing as if without a care, while others choose to close their eyes and doze. Winds through the valley, about a half mile down the hill. There's an old Jeep pulling into sight. I walk back to the cabin, to the faces of my friends, and they're shining eyes reflect the fire's light. It's been a long and full life, doing the best I could, wondering if I've learned all I was meant to know. But you don't need no credentials to split a piece of wood on this cold New Hampshire morning in the snow. And I honestly never felt that I would feel as good as on this cold New Hampshire morning